On that priority two, as we look at participation and election security, we want to develop a youth engagement strategy to ensure that meaningful youth involvement in elections. So young people not just be involved. Next month, we'll be launching the biggest and most massive civic voter registration campaign in the history of this country. Looking for 1 million newly registered voters to come out to vote. It's called the Library Youth Research Project. And our initial assessment informed us that you have 1 million people that have been voting for the very first time. In fact, we start having that because when voter registration happens and election day reaches, there are some people who reach 18 to 1, and what happens to them? Don't they vote? So we're having different competition around it. So 1 million first-time voters, how do we get them to come, go to the booths and get their voter cards? That's a massive program we'll be launching next month under the leadership of my president. We're also creating a youth election security working group to provide awareness and training on election security measures. How do young people engage in elections, security-wise? We already have the Inter-Party Youth Political Council. So working with other political party young youth leaders to have different program awareness, peace. And then we're also talking about launching a massive voter registration campaign on priority two. Priority two is organize a series of public debates to promote dialogue around the importance of youth political participation. So debates on what are you going to do about natural resource management? What are you going to do about transparency and accountability? What are you going to do about different things? Not just elections and peace now. We'll focus on these issues. What is beyond FGM? Is it good? Is it bad? These are going to be able to tell us. Youth advancement and opportunities. And this is where the other time we were requesting that the government puts $5 million in the budget for youth development innovation annually. Small money, $5 million. To fund directly to entrepreneurs and other people. So under youth advancement and opportunity, we said establish a youth empowerment fund to provide financial support to young entrepreneurs and innovators. Develop and implement a national youth employment strategy to create job opportunities for young people. Launch a youth leadership academy to train young people in leadership and management skills. Develop and implement a national youth skills development program to equip young people to increase skills to compete in the market. Our digital literacy rating level is very low. So under our digital literacy program, we want to train young university students, graduates to go back in the different districts across the country to teach at least, let the woman at least know how to spell her name. They have to know the basic ABC and 1, 2, 3, that's literacy. She must not know the issue, she must not know framework, policy, all these big things, but just start from somewhere. Those basics. Under priority 4, mainstreaming the SDGs, this is what we're focusing on the issue of biodiversity, climate change, natural resource management, water sanitation and hygiene, environmental sustainability, agriculture, youth and agriculture. We're working with the Ministry of Agriculture right now to speak to you to launch the first time in the history of this country the Library Youth Agriculture Program. We're going to train young people to cooperate with different forest councils and support them to make farms. Make their farms, as a federation, will buy the produce from them, create a market linkage. Very easy to talk, but it's not going to be easy. That's why we want your support. That's why we hope you're going to support us. And finally, under the last priority, the most important priority, under the President's agenda, priority 5, has to do with policy research, review, and advocacy. Our advocacy are specifically focused around the issue of sexual gender-based violence, sexual reproductive health and rights, female genital mutilation, elevating the economy at a national level. The last time we posted an all-male conversation, like, what do men think about it? What do men think about it? It was interesting to listen to the different views that came across the room. And of course, develop and lead in research. So we want to be involved, we want to be like a research institution. Conduct a number of different research on what different things are happening so that it helps to inform everything that we're going to be doing. So we're not just be doing things and say, okay, this is what we want to do, what we do this because it's some motivation. No. What research informs that? So we work with institutions like UNO, Liberia, like Tribe Liberia, that they already started differently working that initiative. We're going to work with them to conduct this research at the national level. Now, budget. How do we fund this strategic plan? Our preliminary assessment shows that to implement priority 1 for the next 3 years, or 3 years, we have about $900,000. Just priority 1. And priority 1 is not just limited to institutional strengthening, and not just limited to developing policy, as well as logistics, capacity from district to county to national level. Priority 2, we said $500,000. Priority 3, $2 million over the next 3 years. the National Youth Empowerment Fund, the construction of the first National Youth Innovation Center. Look, for 48 years, FLA doesn't have an office. 48 years, we made this country. Partners are paying here, governments are coming and go. But for 8 years, we're saying what? Build a National Youth Innovation Center that will house the Federal Librarian Youth. And you're going to access that place to do a lot of things, to co-create, you know, to think, brainstorm, and to have an innovation lab. And these ideas are all beautiful. But I tell you, we've done our homework, and these things are possible. Priority 4, $1.5 million, and priority 5 is $980,000. So to fund our entire plan realistically, to meet the kind of impact that we want to achieve. But right now, our capacity, we're around 20%. But we believe in the next 3 years, if our partners, the government, can invest $5.8 million in Federal Librarian Youth plan over the next 3 years, we can leap out from this 20% to 75%. And then the foundation, the framework will be there now to reach 100% over the next 3 years. Because impact is long term. Certain things cannot be done today, and expect immediate results today. It will take time for this result to translate into something physical, and that's what we want to do. So how do we intend to fund this plan? We hope to get about 10% of that funding from the government over the next 3 years. We hope to get 10% from private sector, that's private sector corporations. Donors and partners, we hope to get about 20 or 25% of that money from them. We hope about 20% come in kind. Don't give us the money, give us the materials. We tend to do fundraising and crowdsourcing, you know. Put our program out there that they can go proud of. So I'm sure somebody found out the issue of crowdsourcing funding, right? Post it online and go contribute, you know, give this. And then we want to be in the culture and the habit of writing. And as I speak to you, we've developed about 10 different concepts around 10 different programs. The concepts are already developed. We've been sharing some of them with some of the partners that are already interested in funding some of them. So we'll soon be transitioning into developing full-scale proposals. We're not really there yet. We still need additional training, additional skill development, right? So, ladies and gentlemen, it's up to who?
It's up to us.
Thank you very much. It's up to who?
It's up to us.
All right, I'm going to tell back to my question. I've been here for too long. Thanks for your patience, and I'm going to make sure that it is circulated to everyone in the room. This presentation is to everyone. So it's not going to look at what I said, but I have to summarize. Thank you very, very much for your time. It's up to who?
It's up to us.
So folks, so if you are just joining, this is KMTV. We are broadcasting to you live from the Single Palace Hotel here in Kolkata, where we are bringing you live broadcast of the strategic plan launch of the FGM. And Minister Tweah just arrived here, and a moment from now, he will be speaking here and officially launch the strategic plan.
So next we call on our own Minister Samuel Tweah, Minister of Finance and Development, for the launch of our
Thank you. Please have a seat. Thank you. President Elliott, the first female president of the Federation of Liberian Youth, the first president to be announced at the State of the Nation by any president of the Republic of Nigeria. Setting a record for the Guinness Book of Records. Very strong. Other officials of FLA, official, the Deputy Minister of Youth and Sports and other non-federal ministries, international partners, Federation of Youth Organizations across the country, representative of the National Students Union, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Today we are here to launch the strategic vision for the next 2 years in the Federation of Liberian Youth. I've been a political actor, a social actor in Liberia for the last 3 decades or more. I don't know if I have seen visioning and leadership we're gathered here to respect today. My conception of FLIBE as a student and even as a professional upon finishing school has been a small, minute organization that responds to the political biddings and whims of politicians. I have not seen FLIBE as an institution at all. It's a group that people call upon to organize events in their political interest. As the previous speaker said, he has never had a headquarters for 48 years. So that tells you the lack of vision from the previous leadership and people who come before. And it's true generally of our society. We think small, we see the future in a different way we look at now. So I'm quite heartened to be here to join you in celebrating the success of leadership and visioning. That a visionary leader does not look at problems. They are not motivated by resources. They are actuated by ideas. Because it is ideas from which everything else flows. Money to build headquarters do not come just because you request it. No. If that were the case, then you would have had a headquarters. And you wouldn't be saying you didn't have a headquarters for 8 years. So that's the question, why has FLIBE not had a headquarters? Why has FLIBE not been an institution of national significance? Why? Somebody will say, oh, because they have not had money. No, it's because they've not had ideas. We're now beginning to see the well springs of ideas taking shape in the Federation of Liberian Youth, thanks to a new visionary leadership that was just elected. And so today we launch a plan that has 5 strategic priorities, as was just explained by the previous speaker. The first priority says institutional strengthening. That is correct. You have to take FLIBE from squatting on the mat or from not existing at all to existence. The institution has not existed. It has either existed in people's pockets, in sleeping, and then when certain agendas have to be whipped up, and then it comes into form. Even though it's been in the budget, as Minister of Finance, I've seen FLIBE in the budget before, and we see it, allocations annually. What is your last year? What was your allocation the year before? And 10 years ago, you're getting 5,000, sometimes you get 10,000, sometimes 20. So, in a country that has a budget of 500 million, the Federation, you will get 50,000. To get it, you struggle, and sometimes you don't get it all. And then they're in crisis every year. I remember the crisis in FLIBE more than any other crisis. Country mining, political crisis, FLIBE's in crisis of leadership, and all of that. So it has not been an institution. We're glad to begin to launch it today to be an institution. What is an institution? An institution is not a building. It's not an office space. So when you talk about institution, I don't think you're meaning a physical construct. An institution need not be physical. It can be ideational. An institution pervades the social ambience, every nook and cranny of the society. People don't see the physicality, they see the ideational impact of the institution. They get up and say, we know FLIBE exists. So it's not a building that's headquartered somewhere. So when you mean institutional strengthening, it is my estimation that you mean these things. And you're not looking to construct a physical building where people will go to work every day and call it FLIBE. No. You're looking to pervade FLIBE in the lives of youth and young people throughout this country. Make it relevant in any way that matters for young people, whether in the form of mainstreaming the SDGs that pertain to reproductive health, education, youth employability, gender empowerment, youth participation, all the things that matter for young people. You ought to be the first institution, the go-to institution for young people in the country. To congregate, aggregate, and rally the mass of our young people to nurture the aspirations of their development. Mainstream them into the center of national consciousness and development. That is why you want to invest in institutional strengthening, in capacity building, in learning, in knowledge sharing. So I'm very happy that this is your priority. And this is a priority to take serious. In rebranding, reshaping, and reframing flag. The government will be a strong partner in that exercise. Youth political participation and election security. What is the consciousness of the Liberian youth? Who is a Liberian youth? When you ask the question, what is fundamental, what is quintessential about a Liberian youth? What is the answer one gets? What is the image of a Liberian youth? Is a Liberian youth an individual that aspires to something bigger, that takes education as the #1 priority, that hankers after the path of excellence, whether in mathematics or science or something, or hankering after the path of excellence? Is that the hallmark of Liberian youth? Or do we pander to misinformation and propaganda, falling to the whims and caprices of misguided individuals in our society? What image do we want the world to know about Liberian youth? Who are we? Who's responsible for framing that architecture of Liberian youth? Who? Is it the government? Is it the society? Is it FLY? Is it political parties? Is it all of them? Who bears the ultimate responsibility? Or is it the youth themselves? But if it's supposed to be the youth themselves that bear the responsibility, who bend the arc of that architecture? Who inspires and motivates them? Who guides, sets the guidelines for our young people? What type of political participation do we seek? An enlightening one or an unenlightening one? Where a politician comes and makes a statement and the youth is not able to even verify the authenticity or the veracity of the statement, and the youth believes the statement and goes on to act and causes damage in the society, issuing from that misstatement made by a politician. Is that the youth we need? We have? Well, youth who do not question their leaders, who request support on the basis of ideology. We don't want that. We want politicized young people in our country. We're young people who are anchored after the truth, the objective essence of the truth, and we live by it. Whether it's truth emanating from the government, it's truth emanating from the government, we want young people to inaugurate the reign of truth, facts, veracity in public discourse. This country can go back to crisis because of misinformation. So we have the responsibility to enlighten our young people, to be the ambassadors of accurate information, to be the managers of public discourse. Because you see, public discourse, young people playing a large role in public discourse. At our tire shops, at community centers, the whole discourse. What are they talking about? What do they know they are talking about? So, in one of your priority areas, which is policy and research, you're challenged already. You're challenged to be able to provide research and information about the development of the country that informs the discourse and young people participating, their social well-being, the political wellness. So that our tire shops can move to a new level because of fly. Yeah. You re-engineer the tapestry and the whole organization of public discourse in the country because of this thing called political participation. Why are many young girls not participating in elections? Why do we not see many young leaders aspiring, young female leaders aspiring to higher? Why? Why after 48 years do we have one female trying to head fly? Why? What is wrong with the society? Do we have many females who cannot speak English in the country? Are females deficient in their education? What is holding them back? Even in the national legislature, why we do not see many young girls aspiring, running, challenging? Why? What is the place of a young woman? The place of a young woman is to be equal as a young man or even greater. Why? Your challenge now in youth participation is to place young girls and women ahead of the men. And the government will be taking keen interest in that. Because we know the more we educate our women, the more we place them in positions of authority, the better our society will be. And so FLY is challenged. In its agenda, fostering youth participation, we want you to prioritize the participation of young women. To follow their education. When we come to some of the SDGs on environmental, 50% of every girl that enters school from grade 1 to grade 6 drops out before the grade age of 6 or before grade 6. That's an alarming statistic. So what it says is that if 50 girls and 50 boys start at school, by grade 6, 25 girls will be out of school. Maybe 40 boys will still be in school. By grade 9, only 10 girls will continue into 12th grade. So we lost how many girls already? 40. Maybe 30 boys will make it through. We lost 20 boys. So we're losing girls more than we're losing boys. So maybe that partly explains why we have to change that. It's a damning statistic. FLY has to be an integral part of the solution to inspire young women to stay in school, pressing the government through advocacy, pressing NGOs who bring money here to ensure girls' education, girls' education, these monies are used for the intended purpose, and we see the results in our girls stay in school and go there. We change that statistic. That is how you empower political participation. Because you cannot have uneducated, miseducated girls clamoring, I will say, and say you have political participation. No. Political participation begins and obtrudes beyond the formative education of an individual. The quality of education they imbibe from K to 12, beyond, will inspire the kind of participation we have. If they have deficient learning, their participation will also be deficient. No question. And so we have a lot of work to do in this thing that we're launching here. And so I'm not focusing on the resources. I will not focus on resources here, because that's what we do in the country. We need to focus on the things that we need to do. And the things that you need to do, if you understand them well, if you plan them well, they will bring and generate resources. Resource is the consequence. It is not the precedent. It comes after. It doesn't come before. People are inspired by you. I mean, if you launch a revolution in girls' education, if you launch a FLY girls' education project, and work closely with the Ministry of Education that tries to check to see why girls are not in school. And we're getting some statistics. Some girls are not in school in the interior because we hear they don't have menstrual pads. That's true. A girl is staying out of school because during her menstruation, she doesn't have pad and she's embarrassed, so she stays home for 5 days, 6 days. And by the time the girl stays home for 5 days, she misses 1 week lesson. The next time she gets, maybe she'll miss the next week, then she'll go by the following week. And she's not following the lesson, she'll be on her until the next menstrual pack. Then sooner or later, she's like, let me go to school and next year I'll go back. That's how you start it. and then you have them dropping out. So you need to identify that. That's the first question that you want to work on. And the first question you want to work on. This is cheaper. Sorry, my boss was calling me. Okay, so girls, so you identify those kinds of projects. You say you don't want any girl to stay out of school because of her menstruation. No, menstruation is a natural fact of life, feature of life. People are going to not be educated because of that. Our country has a problem. The government should ensure it never happens. But the government needs advocates and people at the level working with the Ministry of Youth and Sport Education to make that happen. You take on that challenge. Girls should be masters of mathematics and science. Why our girls are doing sociology? Why they wouldn't want to, and say management, public administration? Why won't girls go do electrical engineering? Why are girls not doing, physics and mathematics? Who says so? I never know I'm making sociology major and management minor. We gotta end that combination. Yeah, all the universities. Everybody doing sociology, everybody doing management. What are these things? Girls need to do economics, girls need to do chemistry, biology. In America right now, the crisis in American education is the fact that boys are falling behind girls. And that boys are doing well in math and science, girls are doing well in math and science than boys. That is the crisis in American education now. The crisis is that why boys are not finishing school. Girls are out-competing boys. If girls can out-compete boys in the United States, they can out-compete boys in Liberia. And let FLA be a conduit for that happening. In partnership with the USAID, with the World Bank, with the government, with the EU, and with everybody. I'm expatiating on these things so that you know that you're not just launching a paper here. You mean something. I hope you know what you wrote here. I hope you understood what you wrote for us to learn for 3 years. And you're not just saying, oh, they're going to put these catchphrases together, these buzzwords, the minister will be inspired by them, and the government will let them, unless they will be out. No! You have to have staff and youth across the country who are emboldened and empowered to do this work. Because the government is looking for partners to do this work. Government workers alone can make it. The 5 million people will need partnership at all levels of the community. The government is interested in establishing community development centers in every district, where students after school go and do math and science and reading, where girls can learn computer, where they can master stuff. Mastery has to be the art that we go after in the country. Superficiality cannot do it. We're living in a country where superficial, Dr. Sawyer, the late Dr. Sawyer spoke to me when I was a valedictorian at Winfield stuff for her. He said mastery of subjects is not achievable by mere superficiality of knowledge. I remember those lines from the great old man, one of the brightest intellectuals that ever lived in this country. I remember those words. He said mastery of subjects is not achievable by superficiality of knowledge. You won't understand deep things, you don't start at the middle level. No. You go and master it. And so, FLA, as an institution, work with schools and communities to ensure mastery of subjects. And anything, whether it's in TVET education, let young people gain the mastery. So when people are laying bricks, the bricks can be straight. The thing we say now is that when the Liberian mason people lay the brick, the concrete is slanting. When the people from Ivory Coast and Ghana can, it is straight. Why? Why? Why are we developing a reputation that our construction workers are not accurate, or they do not master, and we try to go and bring Ghanaians, to do the laying, and even this thing. When I started building my house, the wall was like, oh no, I started sending people, you gotta bring the bit, because the measurement is never precise, we're sending people to do it. Why? Why somebody wants to lay this part? We're not mastering it so that he or she will be the only one that everybody will come after, and the business request will be so much that they will continue to expand and create jobs for other people because they demand too much because they are good. So this is mastery leading to employment. You spend 3 years in Tweah, you don't master the thing, nobody wants to hire you, and then at the end of the day, you take the skill, you drop it, you go on the street, you become something, and you get into drug. That's a problem. You have to be concerned about that. The quality of Tweah education. What are people learning in Tweah institutions? Are students inspired enough to master these things? Do they have the right curriculum? Do they have the right material? Pressure the government. Look, the machines you're ordering are deficient, so it's undermined. That's the work that FLY has to do. Not to go here behind politicians and say, oh, Zekwe. No, that was the old FLY. We're now inaugurating here a new FLY inspired by visioning. So I'm very delighted to be here to share this day with you, to launch this strategic 3-year plan. And I can assure you that the government of President Dr. George Tweah, who recognized the first female FLY president at the State of the Nation of the Press, who reminded me of a text that I had to come here to launch this program. And he probably was calling me to say, well, I'm already here. I'm not guessing, very here. But the president takes interest in the young people of this country. And that's why he said, look, during my State of the Nation, I will ensure that people see what change means. I came to run for the presidency of Liberia. I wanted change for the country. And you see what I'm doing. People are inspired by the change the president is wreaking through our economy. Today, Liberia is the macroeconomic exception. One of the regional heads for one of the local banks, UBA in the country, she came, she said, Mr. Minister, you are only 2 countries in Africa. Everybody talking that the exchange rate has appreciated against the United States dollar. What are you doing? She said Liberia and what's the other country? I can't remember the other one. But imagine, everybody talking about Liberia, everybody talking about President Tweah, what he's doing. The Vice President of the World Bank was just here 2 days ago. We saw the program, right? He's asking, Mr. President, what's going on here? Liberia is in the news. Liberia, at board meetings and when banks are reviewing their numbers, everybody saying Liberia is stable. What's going on? Liberia took some tough decisions early on under the inspiration of President Dr. George Tweah. That's change. That's change management. You go, you see a fraught system, a broken system, you enter it and you inspire policies that coerce change. That's what the president did. That's what we did. Nothing, no magic went away. Same challenge you have. A broken FLY with no headquarters, no institutional presence, squatting on a mat, even below the, I don't know what it matter, below the floor or whatever, is nothing. You have challenged yourself, say we will launch a strategic plan, we partner with the government, President Tweah, and we will ensure that FLY makes its mark felt. It is only up to us. That's inspiring. It is not the government that will do it for you. It is not the NGOs that will do it for you. It is you that will do it for you. So you say the motto, up to us. That's inspiring. That's uplifting. Up to you. You set the limits of your ascent. If you want your limit to be here, you will set it. If you wanted to go through this roof, you will set it there. You will inspire a new generation of young men and women around this country to get up in the morning and go to school and be masters of their own destiny, knowing that they are responsible. Look, no man, no power, no government is responsible for any human being. To a certain age, man and power is responsible for the kids. By the time you start gaining consciousness, you have to drive yourself. You have to be responsible for your own destiny. All of us, many of us came from nowhere. At the end of the day, we end up different places. Why? Because of our own individual responsibilities. Some people choose their 12 hours in a night to sit and read and master. Others choose their 12 hours to enjoy liquor and get drunk through the night and get up the next morning and go to school. That's it. It's a choice. There are 24 hours in a day. Some people choose to waste 24, others work 22 of it. That's it. Personal responsibility. Then you begin to see the difference between the guy who invests the time, the girl who stays home. No girl should get out of school in this country. No girl. We're looking for scholarship for girls. Any girl who excels in school will be given enormous support. You go find those girls, keep them in school, take them out. No girl should go out there. We don't want girls getting pregnant before the time, because when girls get pregnant before the time, it exacerbates the incidence of what? Poverty. Poverty. When we were coming up in Congo, my brother, my cousin were living, we have a joke, you know. We decided that we're not going to have children before we were able to take care of them. You know why? Because we already were struggling. Then the people in the area can come, my mom said, my big girl saw. And we go, your big girl, 2 more rides, and you go get it. So we just said, we start calling children, poor children, papa. We said, papa. So we said, I don't want to get papa. So that's one of the reasons why my youngest daughter today is 10 years old. My older daughter is 10 years. I'm 52. My daughter is 10. I decided I will not have a papa because if I have her and I don't get money, she will go and knock somebody door. So I will wait. When I have income, then I will have. So me, my brother, papa. So today they see me say, you got papa, I don't know, I turn straight. But it's good, but that's it. That's the reality. When we have children before we are prepared, we're descending to poverty. So all of us should hold. Young people should hold. Girl, no girl should get pregnant until she finish college. Or just on the verge of finishing college. I want to see that program. You'll find a nice thing to say, keep girls in school until they finish college. That program that will go inspire girls, work with reproductive health organizations, that's what we want to see. That's where the linkages are missing. That's it. We got NGOs doing all of that stuff, but they're not doing much because the federation that overseeing young people is weak.
I think they need to add on.
They're challenging you.
Vote before boys.
Yeah, vote before boys and all the, so that's it. The other group say vote before boys. So girls are saying boys before vote. I spend million down girls because I where the problem is. By the way, that's it. Vote before boys. Y'all launch those programs. Reading. Today nobody reads at all in Liberia. People are not reading. People don't go to libraries. People don't go to buy books. I mean, when I mean Abidjan, sometimes I go and I see bookstores. I kept buying books. One of my friends will bring a book. He said, you don't get time to read. I said, I just told you about I just like it. I readers are happy. Yeah. Nobody, people don't read. He said, how many the whole last time anybody read a novel? Anybody read something, a magazine, Newsweek, Time magazine? I mean, I used to find these things. My sister came from America one time, and you know, she had things, all kind of beautiful things from America in 1986. She's a professor at Penn State, at Tweah, Dr. Patricia Wesley. Her things, I mean, she brought things in 1986. I used to go take care of my niece, my nieces and nephew. So, she had books. And then when she would go to work, I would go in the back and see the Newsweek and the Time magazine, stacked organized. I would tell Tommy, I take about 10, I go and hide it somewhere, then I come. When she comes over, I go and carry it. I tell about 6 cartoons or one magazines. I'm telling you, the one has shoes, they get something, they got things cleaning for their house. The people get things to carry. I carry so top because I'm looking for Henry Kissinger. I want to read. So I just check the magazine, get Henry Kissinger article inside Newsweek. I steal all of them. Until today, I mastered all Henry Kissinger. Everything Henry Kissinger wrote from, I don't know, 1975 Newsweek, I read everything. And me and my brother literally used to read the thing without looking at the magazine. A sophisticated and complex language. So when it's my language complex, I say one of the berries was like Henry Kissinger. That's it. So the love of book and learning can lead to mastery. And that's what we have to inspire in this generation. Because nobody reading again. So we need reading clubs. We need to set up book clubs, reading clubs, libraries, after school, the next session, We want to spend time to inspire the youth generation. To get successful requires work. There is a perception that to be successful is only about luck. It's not true. That you have to be lucky to be successful. So you probably don't want to spend a lot of time wasting your time in school. You will get some kind of chance. That's not true. Most people in the world are successful because of effort they put into their lives. So we should disabuse ourselves to believe that if we don't put the time in school, in TVET, in whatever thing we learn to master it will be hard for us to be successful or good. That is what we need to foster in our young generation. And when we partner in that consciousness, as we launch this thing today, we stand with you to avail the necessary resources to make this happen, because we are inspired that you are going to do the work to ensure the transformation that is needed in a youth space in our country. Thank you. I hereby declare this strategic plan launched as the guardrail for transforming the consciousness of the young people of Liberia under the auspices of the Federation of Liberian Youth, under its new dynamic leadership chair, as the first female president, illustrious Fly president, who's going to take Fly leadership through the roof. Thank you.
So, folks, that was the voice of Minister Samuel D. Tweah Jr. He just officially launched the strategic plan for the FGM here at the Single Palace Hotel. So, like I said, thanks for watching KMTV. This is how we color your day here from the Single Palace Hotel here in Congo.
So let's go. We all want to know what's next for up to our national youth agenda. So we call Tabla Wanyasa Program Development Consultant. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the invitation, and it's always very difficult to take a podium after a great orator such as the minister, but I'll try and live up to expectations. First, before I start, let me also take this opportunity to congratulate the youth of Liberia for electing Madam President, the first female president of Fly, and I think it's a great achievement and it's a great statement that you are making as youth of Liberia. My name is Tweah Malisa. I am the Democracy Program Lead for the Carter Center in Liberia, and originally from Zimbabwe. And I'm very excited to come before you and to be associated with Fly. Our relationship with Fly as Carter Center does not only start today. We have had interactions as Carter Center with Fly for years, and we've worked with Fly for years, and we've seen this journey that Fly has gone through over the years. I came in when it was a very turbulent time for Fly, and I think all of you will remember that it wasn't as rosy as it is, but we are excited that we are now charting a new chapter and going forward in terms of ensuring that you have a document that guides you for the next 3 years. So what we anticipate maybe as partners also is that when you come on our doors, when you come knocking our doors as partners, we are excited that you now have a document that directs you. The first time I met with Madam President, I asked her, so what is the agenda of Fly? What is Fly? What is now different today that Fly intends to do than what it intended to do before? She says, no, we are working on it. And And I'm excited that the working on it is now produced this document that will guide you for the next 3 years and will ensure that we have a direction in terms of what you're going to be doing and what you'll seek out to achieve. I'm also very excited that one of your key priority areas is institutional strengthening. And as the minister has indicated, we are not necessarily talking about buildings, but we are talking about what makes the whole organization function, what drives the organization, what makes it more valuable to the extent to which it even attracts the resources that it requires. Organizational change is going to, it's a difficult process. It's a process that doesn't happen overnight. It's a process that requires change of mindsets. It also requires not only that, but it also requires capacity that you're going to be building. And I'm very excited that you identify this as your first priority, because from our end as most partners, we've actually identified that organizations either functions or do not function as a result of institutional frameworks that are not really aligned to best practices the world over. So we are excited that this is a priority area that you are taking. The other thing also, as I indicated, that change can be difficult. I mean, some that will remain warped in time. This is what we use for 5. And it continues that. Madam President, you are going to face part a lot of existence. But not that it's in any negative. It's something that is inherited. It comes with it. So how many of you, and the minister alluded to that, how many of you have read the book, Go Move My Cheese? It's a simple little novel that talks about institutional and organizational change. It's about 3 rates. They're used to sit in a corner, they live in a corner, every morning they get their cheese. But the day the cheese moves, they then discuss, they wait for 2 days, 3 days, the other one says, no, look, I think we need to go and look for cheese. We cannot wait here anymore. So one says, no, I'm going to stay. 2 says, no, we are going to go and look for change. So ultimately, the whole moral of the story is about the ability of you to go and look for the change, and not necessarily wait for the change to happen. And this document that you have produced becomes the bedrock and the foundation upon which FLY will be identified. And again, it also becomes a document that defines FLY. But it's one thing just to say, I have a document. Waving around, no, we have a document. You knock on my door, pop, 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 pop. What do you have? No, I have a document. I think it's the ability of now operationalizing that strategy. Now the job begins, madam. The job begins, madam. What are you going to do in terms of operationalizing that strategy? I've gone into offices and they've got all these, like on the walls, our vision, our mission, and everything. But just walking into the door, the front desk doesn't speak to the vision. Does not vision to the mission of the organization. There's a very big disconnect between the two. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it's the manner in which we conduct ourselves, the manner in which we carry through in terms of the aspirations that are set out in the document, to the extent to which we can then be able to say, no, look, as youth, we have achieved quite a lot. From where I come from, the youth movement is very strong, and it's very vibrant. It drives the economy, it drives the politics. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a constituency that people go to. It's a constituency that people look out to. And this document, madam, is a document that I hope will be able to, in one day, or maybe in 3 years, I'll come back to say I was there when I see the results. They say that history is not made by kings and presidents, but by ordinary people doing extraordinary things. People like you, people like you. And I wish you all the best. I'm hoping that the next discussions that we're having, madam, will be pretty much to say, where are you going to help us on these strategic pillars? What are we going to be doing in these strategic pillars? We are there to offer technical assistance as far as much as we can, and if there are any resources that can be looked out for, we can always point out where the resources are. But I'm glad also that there's commitment from the government of Liberia for the youth agenda, and ensuring that the youth agenda is driven by this strategy. If it's not for us, I decided to change it around.
It's up to us, it's up to who?
If it's not for us, so who? No, it still becomes the same thing anyway. But I would like to thank you so much, Madam, and I would like to thank you so much, Youth of Liberia. I'm very excited as we go into the elections. I think the message that we select with the youth as well is that say no to violence, but also call for peace. It's a constituency that is normally associated with some of these things, and I'm glad the minister also noted that and recognized that. But we're happy to be associated with FLY, and we will cherish this assistance and will continue supporting the development of the strategic document. Thank you so much, and all the best in the next year.